What's up everyone, it's your FPL Thinking Cap Benji and welcome back to Best FPL Captain. Last game week we had Bukayo Saka in at number 1, he blanked against Fulham. We also had Cole Palmer, who was our top competitor, smash it with 18 points. It was disappointing, but let's find out if we can bounce back in 16. Thinking Cap activated. Taking a look at last game week's rankings, and there was a late change. Salah dropped into 3rd after we got news of Storm Dara. Saka was in 1st, which was incorrect, and Palmer was the best captain last week. I do think Palmer was a little lucky, but I did say in last episode that Spurs were the most targetable fixture, and I should have weighed Tottenham's defensive injuries higher in the final process. Look, I'm not going to be able to get every week right, but it was really frustrating to be on the wrong side of that decision. Nonetheless, let's move on to the GW16 Shortlist, and all of the options have home fixtures. Salah, Saka, and Isak play on Saturday at 3 PM. Cole Palmer has a very unique kickoff. That Brentford game starts at 7 PM UK on Sunday, which does create an interesting dynamic for captaincy this weekend. If we switch attention to the historical trends, first with Salah, he's only blanked once at home to Fulham in his career. Isak has a fantastic record when facing promoted teams at home, but his only blank against a promoted side came against Leicester actually in 2023. Saka has blanked just once at home to Everton, and the last time he played in this fixture, he returned double digits. Palmer has the worst historical record. He's blanked once in this fixture out of 1 start, but obviously he's only played 1 game, so there's a lot of room for improvement. Salah is the standout for his upcoming game day. He's averaging 1 GA per start. In his last 5 Saturday home performances, he's blanked just once. Palmer looks a little more reliable with an 18% blank rate, and Coley's form is beginning to rise up into the high 8s, which is a good sign, but he's not the most explosive game day asset. That's actually Saka. Saka's hold in 33% of Saturday home starts, and his 10-point form is the best out of all 4. Isak is joint top with Salah for return rate, but he doesn't have the same consistency as the midfielders across the last 5. Midfielders have more avenues to points with 5-point goals and 1-point clean sheet, so it does make it harder to trust Isak without good form. Moving into the game time dataset, and let's touch on Cole Palmer first because his game time this weekend is very unique. The only 7 PM home game he's played was against Man United last season. That was a midweek where he got a hat-trick, and because there's so few games that he's played at this time, he's never played it on Sunday. I've included all of Palmer's starts in matches from 7 PM onwards, so basically night fixtures, and it's honestly ridiculous how good he is in these late games. In 4 starts, Palmer's delivered 2 hat-tricks, 3 double-digit hauls, and he's returned in every home start from 7 to 8 PM in his Premier League career, which is absolutely insane. Even if you take the penalties that he got in those 4 games out, if you would take the pens out, he would still be sitting on 7 GA from 4 starts, so I am definitely not sleeping on Cole Palmer captaincy this weekend. Saka is in the best form out of the 3 PM guys. He's returned in 4 out of his last 5 starts at the Emirates, and that blank that is in his dataset was against Leicester City this season. Salah's underlyings look good, but an interesting trend I found was that Salah hasn't produced a double-digit haul since February 19th, 2022, which is over 2.5 years ago, so Salah explosivity is a small concern I have. Even Isak has better form than Salah, but Isak has an 11% haul rate, not even in the 20% range. That's a definite problem for me, and the fact that midfielders have stronger points, routes to points, makes me question Isak hat. So for the opponent defenses, I think it's Isak and Palmer who have the best fixtures on paper. Leicester City have Ndidi out for 6 weeks, and he's been one of their best players this season, so that alone as a factor benefits Newcastle's prospects. Brentford's defensive numbers are almost as bad as Leicester's, 1.9 goals conceded per game, which is close to their XGC total of 1.7 per game, so I do think both of these 2 teams stand out from the rest. I think Isak has a good matchup this weekend. He likes to drift towards that left-hand central zone as well, as he used to be a left winger, and sometimes he plays there for Sweden as well, so I do think it's a great matchup, with Leicester also conceding a lot of central chances, and I'd also say Palmer has a good matchup as well. Against Spurs, Palmer occupied the right-hand zone of the Chelsea attack, and I do believe he is much more explosive when he plays in that area. Brentford have conceded 71 chances there, and 61 chances through the middle, which is a big green flag for Palmer as we head into rest and recovery. Isak Willock and Palmer sit top of the pile, having received the most rest days, and they're both projected the strongest X minutes possible. SAKA hasn't traveled, but his minutes are lower because Everton shouldn't be too much of a concern, and with the pressure to deliver silverware this season, I do think there's a chance Arteta uses SAKA at home to Palace in the Cup next Wednesday. Chelsea, on the other hand, can't afford to drop points. They're not in the Cup, so I highly doubt Palmer comes off in this game unless they're up by 3 or 4 goals, and if that is the case, he's probably walking off with some involvement. Salah is projected to hit the 83rd minute mark. Depends again how comfortable the games are going, but I think he's going to get shaved minutes against Fulham with Harvey Elliott and Chiesa ready for some minutes, maybe Diogo Jota as well, who could play a part in the bonus, so I don't think Slot will hesitate to rotate after a sluggish performance in Spain. And if we look and move into the GW16 rankings, it's Mo Salah who is actually in 3rd position, not necessarily to do with his minutes because I think he still can do the damage in 80. I do think the Anderson and Bassi absences benefit other areas of Liverpool's attack, and I also believe that Robinson has been fantastic defensively this season. I thought he was excellent for 94 minutes against Bukayo Saka. We also know that Marco Silva will come to play deep at Anfield, and 83 minutes of Salah against a low block Fulham doesn't have enough explosive potential for me. Salah has also failed to haul in 3 PM home starts for over 2.5 years, so yeah, that does put me off a little bit. In at wildcard is Alexander Isak. He's got the highest gain potential as he is the lowest EO option. I just don't have the trust with strikers, and the current captaincy power curve is with the midfielders, and he's also quite injury prone. He's come off before the hour mark with a knock countless times, and his fitness is a genuine threat to captaincy, so for me he's just too high risk. But I do own him, and I hope he smashes it against Leicester. My best captain for Game Week 15 is Cole Palmer, which means Bukayo Saka is in 2nd. Look, Coley will be the 2nd highest EO player behind Salah this week. Most of the big content creators like Let's Talk FPL, Praz, all of these guys, a lot of them are on Cole Palmer, which is why my predictions have him over 100% at all rank tiers. And for me, Palmer is the clear standout option. He's had the full 7 days of rest, hasn't played in the midweek. His kickoff profile for these late night games are excellent, and being a Flecken owner, I can tell you that Brentford defense, it's very, very flimsy, prone to errors, prone to giving away penalties as well. I feel like this week is choose your favorite low block in a sense, because I'm expecting Everton, Fulham and Brentford to keep it pretty tight at the back, and I feel like Brentford's low block is the most targetable. Let's touch on Bukayo Saka before we wrap up, and I do think he is the best 3 PM option, to be honest. He's been the absolute best, absolute monster at 3 PM at this kickoff time, and he's been in explosive form. 2 goals and an assist versus Monaco in the Champions League. My problem with Saka is that Arsenal's attack is missing easy chances, and I do think they could struggle against a low block Everton who have no crucial absentees. Saka will be the main point of attraction for Dyche, and I expect the double up to be operated with McNeil coming in from the left wing position instead of the cam position, and that with the low minutes and the double up, and also the fact that I do think Martinelli or Trossard will have the better matchup against Ashley Young. For those reasons, I'm just not too confident on Saka this week, so he drops to 2nd behind Palmer. If you've enjoyed this one, then drop a like, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Peace.